Hi guys, it's really hard for me to break this habit. I have to break this habit. We're gonna talk about coffee and stress. This is the second biggest thing. We talked about insulin in a former video of how we are not losing weight or why we aren't losing weight or the biggest roadblock in us losing weight, insulin. I forgot to add, you guys probably already know this with version 2, but the most important thing why I believe in a high-fat diet is because up and down roller coaster energy ride happens because of too much sugar and carbs, which is why a high-fat diet is so good for people with insulin issues. It doesn't have to be keto either. It just needs to be lower carb, higher fat. Okay, continuing on to today, stress, the other roadblock in weight loss, the other roadblock in feeling good and not having your body fall apart on you. It's just so common. Every single person I see, it's an issue of you are too sympathetic, meaning not that you have a lot of sympathy, but that you tend to just be on this go, 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 fight or flight, brain direction all the time. Like, I am here to survive. And what happens when we have too much go, 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 we have too much cortisol and our body gets out of whack. And you guys know in the adrenal video that cortisol is really a huge piece of our energy, but also our weight loss. So let's break it down just in case you missed out on version 1 or need to recap. Cortisol is highest right when you wake up. So 7, 8, we'll say a.m. average. And slowly throughout the day, it gradually comes down. And that's a good thing. Cortisol makes us feel good. And I think a lot of times we hear cortisol and we think that's bad because it is a stress hormone. But if we didn't have cortisol, when you don't have cortisol, especially in the morning, you feel really, really low energy. You don't want to get out of bed. You feel grumpy. You tend to feel really emotional. These are all the symptoms that I've talked about in my adrenals talks and podcasts before. This hypoadrenal state where cortisol is just too low. But then we have the opposite where cortisol is too high. So we're hyper anxiety. We clench our teeth when we fall asleep. Maybe we can't get to bed because our melatonin isn't being produced. What's super cool is that with cortisol, as it slowly comes down throughout the day, if it comes down appropriately at night, then melatonin can be released, which we all know is our sleepy hormone. So I actually don't approve or suggest taking melatonin before bed because there's an underlying cause. There's something happening with our cortisol levels that aren't allowing us to relax. So how do we regulate cortisol? It's the huge question for anybody that thinks that they have adrenal issues. And number 1, controlling blood sugar. For the same reason I just said about insulin, when we're up and down, we're perpetuating the cortisol cycle. Blood sugar comes up, blood sugar crashes. Number 2, we have to be aware that stress exists and it's causing our own demise. That's so dramatic, but it really is causing that roadblock that you keep hitting. So acknowledging that this is a wall full of stress that we're creating in our head or that's around us is step 2. Step 3, we really look at the things in our life that can help. And so I'm going to show you in this video the physical things that you can, it is so windy outside, the physical things that you can do and try and start with drinks and with cordyceps and with mushrooms and with herbal coffee. And then we're gonna do another video on other things outside of just what you're eating. So let's talk about coffee. We all wanna know about it. Is it good? Is it bad? There's so many good antioxidants in organic, well-sourced coffee that I can't ever say don't have coffee. I am a coffee addict. I have an espresso machine over there that I use frequently. But the problem is that when we have adrenal issues, we're perpetuating the cycle by just increasing our coffee because we're tired. We need more energy, so we drink more coffee. So I didn't know my true cortisol health until I cut out coffee. And it was the most depressing day /week/month of my life because I worked at Starbucks for 4 years. I swear by coffee. I love it. And so for me to cut it and go cold turkey, and I tried green teas and it just really didn't work. Like I need something dark and I need something that tastes like coffee. It just was really hard. So I tried a few different alternatives and it didn't work, which is why I started Herbal Coffee. And it's a chicory roast and it's a really great dark blend. And that's step 1 in maybe trying to cut your caffeine habit because oh my God, it's hard, right? Step 2, you could always do, I don't know why I'm doing so many steps. There's so many steps in this video. There's so many great tools, and Four Sigmatic is my favorite company in the world because first off, it's powder. You just put it in hot water. So it's even easier than loose leaf tea. But there's chaga that's good for immunity. There is cordyceps, which is just the best way to increase ATP production, help with testosterone, and help with overall stress, kind of like an adaptogenic herb. It helps you adapt to high stress. The more I have mushrooms in my life, the less stressed I am. I feel like little things just blow over. And then, of course, they have a mushroom coffee. So it has coffee in it, but the cordyceps help mitigate, and lion's mane help mitigate some of the symptoms that too much coffee can do. Ultimately, coffee does increase cortisol. So if you're anxious, if you're if you're having a hard time stimulating that melatonin at night, I really highly suggest trying some coffee alternatives. If nothing else, what's really cool to see, and this is what I do now, if I have coffee in the morning, if my adrenals are off, I need coffee around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Because when we naturally have cortisol, and then all of a sudden, we have something else that's supposed to produce it, we tend to need a little bit of bump. So for me, I just want to say coffee is great if you have adrenal issues. This is my long way of saying really be smart about coffee and caffeine consumption, not just with coffee, but with pre-workouts, with energy drinks, which hopefully you're not doing those, but if you are, like Killcliff or healthy ones, then really be smart about it, because you might feel good with that caffeine, but when you take that caffeine out, where is our energy? So finding alternatives is a fantastic way to help lower our stress, help our body adapt to stress with these incredible things like Four Sigmatic. Another one that they have that I don't have out is reishi, which is great for at night to calm your system down. All of these things, and we'll talk about more oils and herbs and hippie things that I do in another video, but I hope this helps, especially if you have adrenal issues, to really take a step back and see where your energy is, because we could take all the adrenal supplements and we could eat all the good fats and cut all the sugar, but until we're really focusing on what's causing stress in your life, whether in your head or around you, nothing's gonna change, and including weight loss. It gets really stubborn if we have some cortisol issues. So I hope this helps.